Hits for the pound.
Yeah, this is how we do it in the Central Colors, man. We got 40 ounces, Old English, rag tops, 6'4" Impalas, and bikini girls, man. This is how we do it on the West Coast. San Diego, San Francisco, Los Angeles. But don't forget about the Central Cali, man. Please don't forget about the Central Cali. Yeah, get 'em.
It's another sunny day in the state of California. Low rider palm trees and G's that put it on ya. This ain't a negative, we speaking ebonics. Rank talk, candy paint on D's with hydraulics. Baseball hat with the sticker on the brim. Don't let the sun blind your sight, cause things can get grim. But I'm not here to talk about banana clips and guns. We're going back to Cali and we're gonna have some fun. A West Coast domination.
And welcome back to Two-Face Entertainment Podcast. I am your host, Fred Segura, out here in Monterey County, also known to the world as the Salad Bowl, also known as the Salinas Valley. To the people in LA, we are north. To the people in San Francisco, we are south. Right smack in the middle, best of both worlds. Don't forget about the Central Cali. Anyhow, folks, today we are going to talk about the recent arrest in the murder of Tupac Shakur, right? On Friday, September 29th of 2023, 60-year-old Dwayne Keffe D. Davis was arrested, right, for the murder of Tupac Shakur, right? To bring you guys up to speed, I'm going to do a little bit back. For those of you who don't know the story, bear with me. I'm going to take you through it, right? And I did take notes for this, guys, because I'm the kind of guy that goes all over the place and kind of funnels everything in. I want to pretty much stay on track with this, right? So I kind of set myself, to keep it in order here, guys. So anyhow, Dwayne Keffe D. Davis was a notorious drug dealer who sold drugs from the 80s into the 2000s. Right. He was a member of the, or is a member of the Southside Compton Crips. A lot of this stuff he's admitted to it on camera. So a lot of the stuff is said based on his interviews as well, right? So he's lived the glamorous life. He's rubbed elbows and with big names in Hollywood and attended celebrity parties and whatnot. Which in 1992 he attended a party that was thrown by Will Smith and Jada Pinkett, where he got to meet Sean Combs, also known to the world as Puff Daddy, Diddy, P. Diddy, or whatnot, of CEO of Bad Boy Entertainment out of New York, right? So yeah, I mean, he also laundered his money through a shop that he owned, along with his brother, for the Compton Hydraulics, and he had cars and did hydraulics and stuff like that, to where Sean Combs, Puff Daddy, ended up calling him, wanting to rent a vehicle, a 64 lowrider, excuse me, for a video shoot that he wanted to do with Usher, who was, I believe, was 16 at the time. Keffe D complied, and the relationship started. According to Keffe D, the hood was dented and scratched after the video. Being a candy paint job, you can't match candy, so they had to repaint the whole car. And Sean Combs paid for it, right? Okay, fast forward a little bit, guys. That's just the genesis of the relationship of that part. It'll all come together. In 1996, during the heated beef between Death Row Records and Bad Boy Entertainment, a lot of people want to refer to it as the East Coast, West Coast war, kind of, which I don't want to go there. That really wasn't what it was. It was two different camps going at each other. It wasn't a whole coast and stuff like that. A lot of people went into that, right? But anyhow, it is alleged that Bad Boy CEO Sean Combs had put up a bounty for Death Row medallion, a chain, as to as the one that Tupac shows in this album cover, right? Okay, Keffe D's nephew, right, 22-year-old at the time, Orlando Baby Lane Anderson, and other members of the Southside Compton Crips, which Orlando was now a part of as well, went into the Lakewood Mall in Lakewood, California, and they spotted Trayvon Lane, who was known to be a Piru Blood and member of Death Row Records. He wore a medallion, right? They spotted him at a Foot Locker, and the Southside Compton Crips, along with, well, Orlando Anderson was also part of that, jumped Trayvon Lane, right? It is alleged, too, that the chain was not taken, and it was taken, and there's pictures of the police holding the chain. There's it's a shady area right there, right? So, also during that time, again, it is alleged that Sean Combs, Puff Daddy, P. Diddy had put a $1 million bounty on Tupac Shakur and Suge Knight, Marion Suge Knight, CEO of Death Row Records. Right, so let's just bear with that as well. So let's fast forward to September 7th, 1996, right? Las Vegas, Nevada. After the Mike Tyson Bruce Seldon fight, Tupac and Suge Knight and the Death Row entourage attended the fight. Wasn't much of a fight. Seldon went down in the first round, and that was pretty much it, right? So, according to the story, here's what happens: that once they came out of the fight, and they were in the lobby, around the lobby of the MGM Grand in Las Vegas, Trayvon Lane spotted Orlando Baby Lane Anderson, who had jumped him along with his, crew or whatever you want to call him, earlier in the year, at the mall. So, Trayvon Lane goes back to tell Suge Knight that, he spotted Orlando Anderson, the guy who stole his chain, right? According to, again, the story, Tupac Shakur bolted, just started to take off, walked over to Orlando Anderson and just swung on him, hit him. The rest of the Death Row entourage went in and started, punching and kicking him and just beating him up, right? To where Suge Knight, and it's all on film, guys. For those of you who don't know, it's on film. It's on YouTube as well. And so they beat him up, and they Tupac leaves. So he leaves. They get out of there, trying to get out of there. The entourage follows him. As he's making his way through the casino to try to get out, fans start to realize, oh, it's Tupac. So he starts to leave, and he's trying to leave incognito. So what happens is, now he has a train of people behind him. Because, nobody knows what happened. A lot of people don't know what happened. So they're following him along, he's trying to make his way out. So they get out, they go back to their I think to the rooms they had at the Luxor or to Suge Knight's house. Again, it's a gray area there, right? Okay, so what happens is Keffe D, being Orlando Anderson, Orlando Anderson's uncle, right? And to be known as a shot caller of the Southside Compton Crypt at the time, made a phone call to a Harlem kingpin, drug kingpin, Earl Eric Von Zip Martin, right? Who he had met through Sean Combs, right? Allegedly. So what happened was he called him and told him he needed a gun. Von Zip showed up to the parking lot at the MGM. Along sitting shotgun was the was recording artist Foxy Brown. When Von Zip showed up, he motioned for Foxy Brown to step out, and he motioned for Keffe D to jump in the car, right? So, according to Keffe D, Von Zip pulled a 40 caliber Glock from, a 40 Glock, 9mm, pulled it from a hidden compartment in the vehicle and handed it to Keffe D. And this is what has been said, that what happened was Von Zip told him, "This is the time to take care of that thing. This is the perfect opportunity, baby." Right? Referring to the bounty from Sean Combs. Right? So Keffe D takes a gun, and as most of you know, we're going to cut to that because you already know what happened. They pulled up alongside. They were looking for them. They were Keffe D, Terrence Brown, Keffe D, DeAndre Smith, and Orlando Anderson were in the infamous white Cadillac. Right? I'll get to where each one sat at. Right? Those are the four people that were in the vehicle. Right? So they were looking around for Tupac Shakur and Suge Knight. They couldn't find them. They actually went to a club 662, which was a club owned by Suge Knight. According to Keffe D, they went over there, and Reggie Wright, who was a head of security, I believe, spotted them and seen them waiting outside. And what Keffe D states is that he wanted Von Zip to or somebody to arrange a fight between Orlando Anderson and Tupac Shakur, because Keffe D knew that Orlando would win. Right? They just wanted to settle the score over what happened at the MGM, that they beat up his nephew. So they couldn't find him. They took off. They got bored. I believe they went to go buy alcohol and stuff, and they were going to go party at a casino or a room or a hotel or whatever. But on the way back, they saw people screaming, women screaming or whatever, and Tupac hanging out the sunroof of the BMW. So they were like, "Oh, well, there they go right there," and that's when they went onto East Flamingo Road and came to the light at Colville Lane. Shots were fired into the BMW from the back window of the white Cadillac. The Cadillac then made a right and headed south on Colville. Right, according to Keffe D, what happened was when they ended up stopping to get off to go party, he said, Right across was the ambulance and stuff, and Suge Knight and them on the other block. And he said they didn't care. He said they put the gun on the tire, and when the go party came back the next day, the gun was gone. Right. They said there was backfire, so they did have bullet holes. They got the car fixed and returned it back to the renting place. Okay, so at this point, we already know the outcome. Unfortunate outcome. Tupac Shakur lost his life, right? But let's fast forward now to 2009. Officer Greg Kading, who is now retired, but at the time he was investigating the murder of another recording artist, Christopher Notorious B.I.G. / Biggie Wallace, who was murdered in Los Angeles in the same fashion as Tupac Shakur. So Craig Kading looked into Keffe D because Keffe D, again, being the shot caller of the Southside Compton Crips, and having a relationship with Sean Combs, aka Puff Daddy, Diddy, P. Diddy, CEO of Bad Boy Entertainment, they were usually hired as security when they came out to LA. So Craig Kading and another officer showed up to Keffe D's home to talk to him, right? They just looked into that. I forget what method that he used, but they got him to comply. Openly, they gave him I believe it's called a proffered agreement, meaning that whatever you confess to at the moment, you cannot be charged for. However, what Keffe D did not understand was if he was given an immunity agreement, you can never be charged for it. So that's the difference. So I believe they did sign a proffer agreement. And so he spoke on the situations and ended up placing himself at the murder scene, the Tupac Shakur murder scene, right? So therefore, unbeknownst to Keffe D, he was being audio recorded by the officers. And again, guys, he did not understand that the proffer agreement only was for that moment, right? If you speak outside of that moment, then, you can be in big trouble, which is what ended up happening. Las Vegas police started building the case because Keffe D went on a lot of platforms on social media, started doing interviews, started getting, started putting himself out there, thinking, hey, pretty much everybody's so far. I'm the only one alive out of the 4 people in the infamous white Cadillac that pulled up alongside the black BMW and shot Tupac Shakur. And we'll get into that a little later. So he went on and started saying a lot of stuff, and the more and more he I think he just felt a little bit more like, hey, cool, hey, I got away with it, or I'm not the one that shot him. I was in shotgun, and I'm just telling my story. But according to Nevada police, or Las Vegas police, I should say, that their laws are different other than California. And California can get away with it in a sense. But the way one of the officers referred to it is, in the press conference they had over this indictment on Keffe D, was the officer said, the way we run it is, if 2 people go in and rob a bank, right? But one person goes in to rob the bank, the other one's the driver. He never goes into the bank, he never points a gun or whatever, he drives, right? At the end of it all, he's just as guilty as the guy who robbed the bank. So they're both going to get the equal amount of time. So this is where we're at with Keffe D, and now in his indictment with the Las Vegas police, right, over the murder of Tupac Shakur. So let me go through a little bit of my notes again. So yeah, I mean he started doing a lot and saying too much and not understanding a lot what he was offered at the time, and what he was supposed to do was not say nothing after that, and he would have been fine, right? Although there is no statute of limitations for murder in the United States of America, so eventually you will get caught, if that's the case, But Keffe D had been talking since he went on, I believe, since 2018, and he even wrote a book titled Compton Street Legend, where he spoke in detail of what happened the night of the Tupac Shakur murder, which I've already explained a little bit of, right? But he did say that he took the Glock, that the 40 Glock that Von Zip had handed him, and he threw it in the back seat, right? So the driver, Terrence Brown, was the driver in the white Cadillac. Keffe D was the passenger. Behind him was his nephew, Orlando Baby Lane Anderson. And behind the driver was DeAndre Smith, Big Dre, right? Again, there's speculation. There's according to eyewitnesses, which was I can't forget, Gaddafi of the Outlaws, and Frank Alexander were the two eyewitnesses that saw the shooter, right? Other than that, anybody else just saw the hand come out and shoot into the BMW, which some speculate that it was a hefty, big hand, a big hand. It wasn't a skinny hand, as Orlando was a skinnier guy, opposed to DeAndre Smith, who was a 6'6", 6'7", something like that, hefty guy. But unfortunately, Gaddafi of the Outlaws passed away 2 months after the death of Tupac Shakur. And I will come out and say this, that there's speculation too of what happened there. He happened to die in New Jersey. He was murdered. I myself have spoken to Napoleon of the Outlaws a few times, and due to it being, I'll just put it to you like this. I'm not going to speak on it, guys, because it's personal to that family, so I will not speak on that. Okay, so we'll leave it there, right? Unfortunately, though, Gaddafi did pass away, was murdered. Okay, 2 months after Tupac Shakur. The Frank Alexander, the body of Tupac's bodyguard, Frank Alexander, also kept mum to who he saw, that he had made eye contact with the shooter, but unfortunately he too passed away in 2013. They say that it was a suicide. However, there is speculation that he may have been murdered, and so on and so forth, right? But on with what we're talking about with Keffe D. In his book, he pretty much confessed even more in much greater detail, while the police were building a case and saw that it coincided with their investigation. What he was saying fit their piece of the puzzle, right? I mean, really, that's just the bottom line to it, and that's what ended up happening. So, it is okay. Now, after the murder of Tupac Shakur, it is alleged that Sean Puff Daddy Combs, P Diddy, gave Earl Eric Von Zip Martin a check for $1 million or 500,000. There's different stories to that, right? To give to Dwayne Keffe D. Davis for the murder of Tupac Shakur, right? It is alleged, right? However, again, allegedly, Von Zip never gave the check to Keffe D, right? So that's what happened. There's another allegedly that Orlando Anderson was going around house parties and would, get drunk or whatnot and start bragging and saying that he shot that N-word, that he's the one that murdered Tupac. All this is alleged from people saying stuff, right? So anyhow, so again, it's just unfortunate. It's just an unfortunate turn of events, guys, that happened. On July 18th of this year of 2023, Keffe D's home was raided. The grand jury in Clark County indicted Dwayne Keffe D. Davis on one count of murder with the use of a deadly weapon, plus a gang enhancement. The other charge is orchestrating crimes. So therefore, there's also no bail set for him at all. So he's not going anywhere. He is in custody as we speak. I believe he has an arraignment, or at the time you see this, it'll already be past that. He was arraigned on October 4th, right, which is this Wednesday, or this past Wednesday, for those of you watching later, right? So at the end of it all, guys, Tupac Shakur was shot in Las Vegas on September 7th, 1996, and succumbed to his wounds on September 13th, 1996, right? The people in the vehicle, in the white Cadillac that shot Tupac Shakur, Orlando Baby Lane Anderson, the alleged shooter that said the guy sitting behind the driver said that I don't want no part of this. Baby Lane is allegedly grabbed the 40 Glock, stuck his hand out the window and shot Tupac Shakur. And it was retaliation for when they beat him up at the MGM. A lot of people speculate, the big old conspiracy about Suge Knight and all this other stuff, guys. At the end, unfortunately, it was just a street gang retaliation for something that Tupac got himself into that he was really not a part of. That's the unfortunate, right? And he just got himself into a mix and trying to impress or whatever he was trying to do, and it cost him his life. So anyhow, guys, that's the unfortunate that Tupac Shakur lost his life. And what I mean by that is that he's considered not to have been a member of the mob Pyru Bloods, which was Suge Knight's affiliation and so on and so forth. According to other members of Death Row Records, he was just trying to impress, trying to show out, and unfortunately, again, lost his life. Orlando Anderson, who's also the alleged shooter, was it has been said he was a good kid and he did all, he did everything right, but the streets and through other people throughout Compton and stuff like that in that lifestyle have come forward and said that he was a shooter. He was a killer, and he was nobody to be messing with. Unfortunately, Tupac Shakur and Orlando Anderson happened to cross those paths. And to get down to it, guys, I will say, it's just unfortunate, guys, to try to for that to have happened. We try to sometimes think it's larger than life, be iconic, and so on and so forth. And it's just trying to do too much, thinking we are invincible, can sometimes, or majority of the time, cost us our lives. Uh, with that, guys, I will get into the outcome of the people in the white Cadillac and those people involved, starting with the alleged shooter Orlando Baby Lane Anderson. He was killed in a shootout in Compton, California on May 29th, 1998. He was shot, they said, right in the chest, right? And he passed. Again, like what, 2 years after Tupac. The DeAndre Big Dre Smith, who was sitting behind the driver, who allegedly, some people say it was his hand that came out with the gun. Um, he passed away in 2000, in the year 2000, of diabetes. That's what they're stating. There's also speculation that that he was a very abusive man and that his girlfriend poisoned him. That's allegedly, that's still speculation of as to what it is, but he did pass. Earl Eric Von Zip Martin, who gave the gun to Keffe D, which ended up in the back seat according to the story, and was the gun used in the murder of Tupac Shakur, right? So Earl Eric Von Zip Martin passed away from cancer in 2012, right? And the driver of the white Cadillac, Terrence Brown, was found dead from multiple gunshot wounds in Compton on September 23rd, 2015, right? So they're all pretty much gone. Everybody's pretty much gone. The only one alive is Keffe D, is Suge Knight, and that's pretty much it. Uh, Man, it's really, really, really unfortunate, man, that stuff happens and that comes to light. Although, I'll put it to you like this, it's just not come to light to a lot of people. I've known this story a long time ago. From the very beginning, I had already knew what, and because I keep up with this stuff, everybody, and even, I'm not from Compton, I'm over here in Central California, but you hear things, and stuff like that. It's no secret. It's been out. It just took the police 27 years to capture, to capture the murderer. Everybody already knew who the murderer was, or alleged murderer, and what officially had happened. Everything I just spoke on, it's been said, it's been known in the streets and been known if you follow that kind of stuff. And I'm not saying I'm out there in the street, but I also think that sometimes people think, well, the police took that long and everybody already knew, and yes, but they build a case to make it stick, right? So this is where we're at today. Now, the other thing is, now going back into all that, is the big question is Sean Puffy Combs, right? If they trace it back to investigate further into that $1 million check or $500,000 check to Earl Eric Von Zip Martin, so on and so forth, there could be problems coming his way as well for the murder of Tupac Shakur. But I mean, I'm not saying, I'm just reporting the news. Don't shoot the messenger here, guys. Um, but it's been long coming. There's a lot of things that are coming to light now. Uh, that is unfortunate for a lot of people. Sometimes we tend to look at celebrities as in a high regard, and they're just human, just like anybody else. That's the difference. Um, I hate to end it on that sour note, guys, but there is no bright side of this. There is no bright side of any of this. It's just an unfortunate turn of events that happened. We've lost uh, a lot of rap artists since. But the two most notorious, no pun intended, most notorious rap artists of all time that we always look into whenever we say murdered rappers, the first thing that comes to mind is Tupac and Notorious B.I.G., right? Which is also another thing, too, with the Rampart scandal in Los Angeles and the investigation into that. That may just kind of open up a can of worms, this whole situation going on, because I don't think Keffe D is going to stay quiet to that situation. I think will say more stuff, and it doesn't matter whether he says it or not. That's beside the point. The thing is if he states it and they investigate it and they find that what he said is true, they find any kind of clue, anything, any documents and stuff like that, it could bring a lot of trouble to a lot of other people. This is far from over. Keffe D is just the one to begin with. I mean, it's a chain that's going to keep going, guys. Unfortunately, you know what I mean. That's just fortunately, unfortunately, whichever way you want to see it. But yeah, guys. I mean, that's pretty much it. I'm sorry if I bored anybody with it. Hey, it is what it is, guys. This is the story. This is the story to my knowledge, and from what I've gathered. And yeah, man. I mean, that's just bottom line. That's just bottom line. Uh, the music, their music will forever live on, man. I don't. And again, I will say, I don't think there's anybody else that we could listen to in 27 years from now and be like, man, that was, man, that still kind of hits right here, like, like really hits. I don't believe that to be the case today. It's like anything else. These artists like Tupac Shakur and Notorious B.I.G. are forever timeless, man. They're forever. They will be immortal through the music. Unfortunately, they were murdered in that fashion. But with that, guys, hey, you know what? Let's just try not to repeat that kind of stuff out there, and really appreciate things for what they are, right? And don't get into stuff that's none of your business, and try to show out because you're trying to impress somebody, because it can cost you your life. With that, this is Fred Segura, and I messed it up again. With that, this is Two Face Entertainment. I'm Fred Segura, signing out.